Right guys, so as you can see, painted the lower lip black to sort of match in with the bottom of the grill. Just masked it off, sprayed it up with plasti dip, and yeah, came out okay. Quite happy with that. So that's backyard job done for today. Right guys, welcome back to the Mondeo. As you can see, got it up on jacks and stands. What I'm going to do today is the last bit of buttoning up of the project. So I'm going to put the front trays under. I'm also going to give it a good look over and just check over a few things. So yeah, you'll see that. What I'm also going to do is give a bit of appreciation to BRC. I'm going to show what they've done for me with this, the little bits they've made, and explain a bit of the tune they've made, and go over in pretty much a bit more depth of my all-wheel drive system and how it works and what happens, just in case any of you haven't caught it. I'm just going to do it over quickly and point out a few bits here and there. So let's get into the work, I think. Right guys, first problem I've found, so let's have a quick look under here. So from not running an underneath tray, as you can see on this, let's have a look here. This wheel arch guard flaps around a bit. It's touched the wheel a couple of times on this one, and as you can see, there's a bit of crap coming off of there. But over here on this side, and if you can see that, looks like I'm running a freaking drift car. There's a huge part missing here. This whole bottom slat's missing. So obviously what's happened is in the wind this has flapped up and touched the wheel, and the wheel's just ripped it all off. Now luckily I actually have a new set, well, a replacement set of wheel guards. So before I get this underneath back on, I think that's going to be the first thing I do now. So get to that. Okay, so there's the offending item. There's the newer one I've got. As you can see in the back, all the same. I think this one's from a diesel, but anyway, all the same. You get round to the front, you can quite clearly see it looks like it's been eaten by a shark there. So yeah, it was missing all the front tabs and everything. So get that one on. This one did fight me a bit coming out. I had to break a couple of clips on my my mud flaps, but luckily I've got lots of spares of those, so get that one back in. I've got to just wait for, there's a bit of I don't know if you saw, there's a bit of like foam that glues onto the back of here, so it's come off of that one. This one's already didn't have one, so I'm just going to clean it up and put a bit of glue and get that on there. So I think while that bit is drying, we'll get the other side off. So that side is all off in now, and it is over here, and as you can see this side has started to go too. It's all crunchy and lovely. Should save that. Yeah, so that's that. At least this one, the foam insert bit was still glued on, so I can actually see whereabouts it sits, and it actually sits inside of that little groove there. So take that one off, put it onto the other one, the other replacement one, because that one doesn't have one on either. Stick it all back on, I guess. Right guys, so wheels are back on, just in time. Terrible weather's moved back in properly now, so it's raining pretty miserably now. So I might not quite get under the car just yet, but at least the arches are all, the wheel arch liners are all changed. Wheels are back on now. I'm going to leave it up in the air because I do want to get underneath and check a few things. I want to show you the little box that BRC has done and what have you. So fingers crossed, hopefully this is just a little passing shower, but we'll see. Okay guys, so everything's all back on now. As you see, the trays are all on. Replaced a bunch of the bolts because a load of them were rusted. Unfortunately, I didn't have a full set of bolts. I had about 25 and it wasn't enough throughout the conversion, I should say. So what we're going to do now, we're going to climb underneath and we're going to have a quick look under the diff and at the four-wheel drive stuff. So join me, let's get under there. So welcome to the Haldex diff. So as you can see here, it's all pretty damn tight. So you've got the prop shaft running into the diff flange, running into the Haldex diff itself. Over here, this is the, let's see if we can get a closer look. So that's the actual pump. Now what I've learned is that pump does not provide the pressure for the back of this. That's just a top-up pump. So it keeps the pressure constant. The diff itself creates the pressure. Now, so what I've done, as you can see this little trick orange bit chat, that has now replaced the whole Haldex controller. So what that is, that's like a box that contains the pressure sensor, pressure and heat sensor, and the solenoid, and holds it all into place. And then there's some wiring with the loom that goes up inside. So yeah, just to point out the other bits, here's the filter. Yep, and there's the back of the car. So basically what BRC have done, they've printed me this bit. Andy went and designed it and I gave him the Haldex box, the Haldex controller, and he's basically mirrored one section of that and created me the perfect little bit. Now obviously I think we can make these different colors, or we could probably paint them, but that is there isn't any oil in here with pressure as such, but some oil does dribble past the pressure sensor, so that is sealed. That's a sealed little box. So as for underneath, that's pretty much all you'll see. I must say, this was great. Andy did a flippin' awesome job on this with his little 3D printer. Fits in perfectly, has never leaked. I did have when I made the one out of ABS myself, I used sandwiched ABS plates, or ABS sheeting, and that leaked after a couple of days, just as soon as it got hot. So this has been in since a good few weeks ago now, and this works really well. I'm really happy with that. So big shout out to Andy at BRC. Can't recommend them more. Can't recommend them enough, I should say. They've everything I couldn't do on this car, they've actually done since the beginning. They did the clutch, the block mod, they've installed cams for me, and now they've done the mapping and they've printed me this thing. So that's basically the back part of the conversion, or the four-wheel drive system. Now I am in the process of working with my mate with the all-wheel drive Focus. He's got a working Haldex on his because it actually communicates to the ABS system. Now what I'm going to do with his, I'm trying to make an override switch that will basically charge the solenoid with the full power, well, with full strength I should say. So his will still have, if everything works out, and you'll be seeing this, basically his will still have the Haldex controller with an extra wire going to it, and then we'll open up the Haldex controller and modify the wiring inside of it a little bit, so he'll have like a momentary switch, or just a switch that you click on and then click off, similar to what I've got. But there we go. So yeah, nice and neat under here, all looking good still. I've put a bit of this like reflective tape under here, under the what's it called, and the fuel tank, just to try and keep a bit of heat out, because nobody needs any more heat. One thing I have done, I've moved a bit of this heat wrap back, because at the low point of the exhaust it actually touched on a couple of speed humps, and you can see it's actually touched there again, and there's a bit of a scuff there. It's very low back here. That 30mm drop with the all-wheel drive stuff in here, it's a pain. It is very low. So yeah, let's move on to other things. Okay guys, so you join me in the boot. Now bear in mind, this is still in slight prototype stage. Well, this is final prototype, I would say. It's not painted, it's not in its final configuration because the wires haven't been wrapped and stuff. But basically, this is the little controller. Let's see what we can see here. So as you can see, it's got the wiring coming out of one side and the other side. So we've got I think it's power and ground going to one side. Sorry, it's two powers coming from the switch, and then that's going to the solenoid. It's got a aluminium heatsink on here because the gubbins inside here does get quite hot. Now I've just got it temporarily mounted to my sway bar, my strut brace, just because I'm probably going to mount it up under here somewhere, but just because I wanted to check how hot it actually got with this aluminium heatsink that I've got on here. But it's all good. That thing here, you can run it all day like I do, and you can actually touch that thing, so it's not so bad. Yeah, that's the back end. So that's it in my boot. Tiny little bit of gubbins in there, but yeah, that you do need to have that to hold like sort of the electronic bits. Okay, and lastly, inside of the dirty dusty car, you got the last little bit of the puzzle. It's my three-way switch. So at the moment I've got it on 1, which is my intermediate lock. 0 is, let's see if you can see that, 0 is front wheel drive, and then 2, where I leave it all the time, you can see that there, that is the full lock. That's the full beans. That's where I leave it on. I found that to be the fastest, and funnily enough, it gives me the best fuel economy too. So I'm really happy with this conversion, I must say. Mondeo absolutely flies for an old boat. I just couldn't be happier, and I do recommend people to do this if they're going to look for big power. That would definitely be on my recommendation list. Right guys, so that's the Mondeo done. Just got changed, so now I can get in it and drive it back. But I think we're going to leave this video there. Not much else I can do, not much fun more to do. Might go out on a couple of cruises this weekend, maybe, I don't know. It's hard. I've got a pregnant missus, so yeah, things are tough. She's getting quite close to popping, so painting babies' rooms and building stuff, it's just taken over my life. But again, thanks for bearing with me for another Mondeo episode. So hope you've been enjoying it. Any comments, again, just leave them down below. Drop us a like, share it around, get your friends to give us a subscribe, and hopefully see you in a week's time. Cheers, guys.